Good morning. How do you feel today? Say it loud so you can hear how you feel even over the accordion. Thank you for saying how you feel. My name is... Mr. Channing. Would you like to read a book with me today? Oh, I have a book I'd like to read with you. This book is called Geraldine the Music Mouse, written and illustrated by Leo Lionni, published by Pantheon. What do you see on the cover here?
Geraldine the Music Mouse and attacking of Paul.
Yeah, I see Geraldine the Music Mouse, and I see a statue. Could be of her. Could be another mouse. What's the statue doing?
It's playing its tail.
Playing its tail just like a flute. How unusual. How unusual. Let's find out the story about this statue and about Geraldine the Music Mouse. Now, Geraldine had never heard music before. Have you heard music? Yeah. Now, noises, yes. She had heard many noises. The voices of people, the slamming of doors, bang, the barking of dogs, the rushing of water, the meows of cats in the courtyard, and, of course, the soft beep, 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 beep of mice. But music, never. Then, one morning, in the pantry of the empty house where Geraldine lived, she discovered an enormous piece of Parmesan cheese. The largest she had ever seen. Eagerly, she took a little bite from it. It was delicious. But how would she be able to take it to her secret hideout in the barn? Look how big this cheese is. Look how big she is. How's she going to do it? She's so small. Oh, I think she might ask for help. She ran to her friends who lived next door and told them about her discovery. If you help me carry it to my hideout, she said, I'll give each of you a big piece. Her friends, who loved cheese, happily agreed. Let's go, they said, and off they went. It's enormous. It's gigantic. It's immense. It's fantastic. They shouted with joy when they saw the piece of cheese. They pushed and pulled and tugged, and finally they managed to carry it to Geraldine's hideout. Whew, that's a lot of mice working hard to lift this giant piece of Parmesan. Geraldine she's helping. She's pointing where to go, but she's not really lifting it very much. Once they were there, Geraldine climbed to the very top of the cheese. She dug her little teeth into it and pulled away crumb after crumb, chunk after chunk.
Did she drop them down?
I think that she dropped them down to her friends to say thank you for helping me move this giant piece of cheese. Here's a piece of cheese for you. She's sharing that cheese with them. Now, as her friends carried away their cheese tidbits,
What did you mean?
Geraldine peered in amazement at the hole she had gnawed. Gnawed means that she chewed it with her teeth. There, she saw the shapes of 2 enormous ears.
Was it
Mouse ears. Were they what ears?
beer?
Bee ears.
Yeah.
I don't think they were bee ears. I think they were mouse ears.
Are they big ears?
As soon as her friends were gone, she went back to work again, nibbling away at the cheese as fast as she could. When she was halfway through, Geraldine climbed down to have a look at the forms she had freed. Would you like to have a look at them too? She could hardly believe what she saw. The ears were those of a giant mouse, still partly hidden, of solid cheese.
Yummy.
To its puckered lips it held a flute. Sure looks like a flute. We've seen the cover of the book, so we know it's a little bit more complicated than that. But right now it looks like a flute. Geraldine gnawed and gnawed until she had finally uncovered the entire mouse. Do you think that there's really a cheese mouse hidden inside this block? Or do you think that Geraldine is a sculptor? That she's an artist? That she's taking the cheese away, and she's the one deciding what pieces to take away, and when she does, she's making it into a shape? Now, she might be surprised by the ideas that she has. Oh my.
Oh my!
Was it a flute?
I think a tail!
It was a tail. Then she realized that the flute was really the tip of the mouse's tail. Astonished, exhausted, and a little frightened. She was not expecting to carve a giant cheese mouse today, you know what I mean? Geraldine stared at the cheese statue. With the dimming of the last daylight, she fell asleep.
What does dimming mean?
The dimming of the last daylight. That means that the light was getting darker and darker and darker because the sun was going down and nighttime is starting. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, it's nighttime. But suddenly, she was awakened. She was woke up by some strange sounds. They seemed to come from the direction of the mouse's flute. Now, I'll need your help in a second to answer a question for me. As it grew darker, the sounds became clearer and more melodious until they seemed to move lightly through the air, like invisible strings of silver and gold. Never had Geraldine heard anything so beautiful. Music, she thought. This must be music. What do you think that music sounded like?
That's not how flutes go.
What kind of a melody do you think it was? Can you sing a song that sounds like music? She listened all through the night to that beautiful music until the first glow of dawn filtered through the dusty window panes.
What does dawn mean?
Dawn is when the sun comes up. Dawn means sunrise. That's when nighttime stops and day starts. But as the cheese mouse was slowly bathed in light, the music became softer, quieter, until it stopped altogether. Play, play, Geraldine begged. Play some more. But not a sound came from the flute. Oh, will it ever play again? Geraldine thought, as she gobbled up some of the crumbs that lay around. When the next evening approached, it brought the answer to her question. The music began faintly at dusk. That means when the sun goes down, and lasted until the break of day. And so, night after night after night, the cheese flutist played for Geraldine. Can I hear that flute song again, please? She learned to recognize the melodies, and even in daylight, they lingered in her ears. Then one day, she met her friends on the street. They were desperate. Geraldine, they said, We have no more food, and there's none to be found anywhere. You must share your cheese with us. But that's not possible, Geraldine shouted. Why? Asked the others angrily. They're hungry. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get angry when you feel hungry. Some people call it hangry.
Hangry?
Have you ever felt hangry?
No. It's very quickly.
You just eat very quickly? That's always a good idea. If you got food, what a wonderful thing. They said, why? Why can't you share your cheese with us? And she said, because. Because it is music. Her friends looked at Geraldine, surprised.
Music?
Yeah, they said, what is music? They all asked together. Geraldine had never heard of music until just recently. For a moment, Geraldine stood deep in thought, and then she took a step backward. She solemnly lifted the tip of her tail to her puckered lips, took a deep breath, and blew. She blew hard. She puffed. She peeped. She tweeted. She screeched. Her friends laughed until their hungry stomachs hurt. What is Geraldine doing? If you don't know about this statue and you haven't heard its music, the things that she's doing right now don't make any sense. You know what I mean? It can be hard to explain.
Music!
But then, a long, soft, beautiful whistle came from Geraldine's lips. One of the melodies of the cheese flute echoed in the air. Can you see that music? The little mice held their breath in amazement. Other mice came to hear the miracle. When the tune came to an end, Gregory, the oldest of the group, whispered, "If this is music, Geraldine, you are right. We can't eat that cheese." "No," said Geraldine joyfully. I mean, she was very happy. "Now we can eat the cheese." "Why?" "You know why?" She says, "Because now the music is in me."
What does it mean?
That means she learned all the songs from that cheese statue. That cheese mouse statue taught Geraldine a lot of songs, and now she can play them too. And now she can teach them to other mice as well. And now they can eat that statue when they feel hungry. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. With that, they all followed Geraldine to the barn. And while Geraldine whistled the gayest of tunes, they ate cheese to their tummies' content. Content means until their stomachs felt like they were full. There she is playing. And there they are eating. And there's that cheese statue. It was very useful to teach Geraldine some music. And now it's very useful to feed her friends. How good. How good.
It's getting broken up.
It's getting broken up. It's not going to last forever. But it's going to feed all of her friends. You know what I mean? The end. Thank you for reading that book with me. Let's put it back on the shelf. 1, 2, 3. Give yourself a round of applause. Now, folks, that's all the time we have time for today. Would you like to hear a little bit more squeaking music right now? I'm going to come over here and do it. Thank you very much. You want to say, see you next time?
See you next time.
Bye-bye, squeak.